OMG, welcome back to my channel. So excited that you are here. Thanks so much for clicking on this video. I appreciate you. It's Jody Dunn coming at you with a new weekly video. You just saw Clarky running because I opened up the garage door to grab something and he thought we were going somewhere. But we are not. I was simply grabbing some dirt from the garage so we can do a little planting. OMG, so excited. So in this week's video, we're going to be doing some deep cleaning of a couple areas that I've literally never cleaned. Oh my gosh, they were terrible. But first, we're going to start off with planting. So if you were with me last year, then you saw that I planted some bulbs in the very late fall, and I did not get all of them planted. But I watched a few videos last year and I was like, oh, that's a great idea to save some of my bulbs to, I think they call it forcing them up. So I'm going to try it. So this is going to be a total experiment for me since I've never done this before. But like I said, I watched some videos on how to do it. And basically, if you live in a state that gets very cold, like I do in Michigan, we have what we call a walkout refrigerator or freezer, depending on the temperature. So I've kept some of my bulbs in the garage because it was cold enough to do so. You can see some of them are already like sprouting. I also kept some in the refrigerator in the garage as well. And so I'm going to plant up some tulip bulbs. I did this on February 29th. I'm hoping maybe, I'm planning on hosting Easter. And so I'm hoping maybe by Easter I have some tulips. So the video I watched said that you plant them up and you could do this as long as they have their cooling period of whatever, 8 to 12 weeks. You can do it any time. But they need to have some darkness so that they form roots. Otherwise, if you just put them right in the sun, the stems might not be strong enough because they don't have a strong enough root system, and they might fall over. So hopefully this works out. I'm going to give you an update in this video since I did this on February 29th, but you'll also be able to follow along with how these progress. And this was a package of 12 tulip bulbs, but one of them was not good. It was like, it looked like it had maybe a little bit of mold on it and it felt very squishy. So I'm only going to plant up 11 of them. And then I'm going to take this, I'm going to give it some water because the soil is dry. And then I'm just going to take this right down into the basement where it's dark and it won't get a ton of sunlight so that hopefully the root system starts forming and the stems are nice and strong when they come up and they don't flop over. If this works, I have some more tulips that I'm going to do this with. Maybe I'll have some for Mother's Day. That would be beautiful. And the video I watched also said they last longer when they're inside because they're not exposed to all of the elements. So I think this will be dark enough for them. I'm going to check on them in 7 days. And then I need to do a little doctoring to this poor little pothos. I took this, I propagated part of this in water, and then I took a couple more cuttings from my established pothos and put it in a pot, and it's not doing great. I think part of the reason why it's not doing great is because I got super impatient. I loved propagating one of them in water because I could see the roots growing, and I decided to check on how the root growth was for the cuttings that I just put into soil. And so I kind of like messed with everything, and I think that really screwed things up. So I think this is my fault. I'm going to try to save what I can save and do a little something different with these propagations. So I've washed them all off. They still have some dirt on them, but I have some of them that still have some viable roots. I had a couple that had some rotting roots that I just cut off. This one right here, I don't really see any roots. But the leaves are still alive, so we're going to try it and put it in there. I think that's a big root growing right there. And this one does have a good root on it. But I'm also going to try a moss pole with these. I've been wanting to try a moss pole, and I thought, you know what, let's just do it on these little propagations and see how it does. And instead of making my own, I just ordered a cheap one from Amazon. And I'm putting this in a clear container so that I can see if the roots are growing so I won't get impatient. You probably need, possibly, something to connect the plant to the moss pole, which I do not have. There are lots of different ways you can connect it to the moss pole, but I do have, my pothos has a lot of aerial roots. I'm just going to try to kind of stick it in the moss pole, and hopefully this saves this pothos and it starts growing better, and maybe it will connect to the moss pole and start growing some big, massive roots. Again, another experiment I'm trying with growing things because I've found such a passion with growing things. And not only massive roots, but maybe big leaves, because I've seen the aroids that are on moss poles get these huge leaves, and they're just gorgeous. So here she is. Here's what she looks like. And this one is really close to the moss pole, so I think it might connect. Crossing my fingers. I did this on February 29th as well, and just to be totally transparent, I'm having to water the moss pole just about every day. Not sure that's something I'm going to want to keep up with other plants, but we're going to try it for now and see how it works. All right, it's been 10 days. The video I watched said 7, but it's been 10 days for me. I have watered it again, but I see something, so I'm going to bring this upstairs to get some sun, and it probably needs some water. When I checked on it after, I was checking on it every day, and after 7 days, I was like, I don't see anything. It's not working. Oh my gosh, I was so happy to see that little sprout. All right, now that I brought it up to the light, there's more than I thought. There's 1, 2, no, you can't see that, 2, 3, 4. I'm trying to remember how many did I plant in here, 10 or 12? Anyways, I'm seeing a bunch of little sprouts happening, so that's super exciting. All right, we're gonna get to some deep cleaning of some areas that I've never cleaned before. This is not one. I have cleaned this area before, but I wanted to get my refrigerator cleaned, and this is not bad. It's been a year since I've done this, and I kind of walked you through last year. The first year I did this, which was 2 years ago, I did not pull this plate guard off. Last year I did. If you have one of these, it feels like you're going to break it. Pull it off. It just connects inside. It like snaps inside. Pull it off. This thing was so disgusting last year when I pulled it off. It's not nearly as bad this year. And that was the reason the first year I cleaned it, that I didn't pull it off, because I was like, I can't get this off. I'm going to break it. You're not going to break it. You can see how it snaps in place. So it's a little dusty in the front here, and it needs to be clean. So we're going to get this done. Then we're going to move to the back and take a look at an area I've never cleaned before. And I'm sure right now there are some people like, what do you mean? It's only been 2 years since you've cleaned this part of your refrigerator. Yep, it's only been 2 years. I just have, the only time I have ever cleaned is if we had to move it for some reason, or if we had to get a new one, which this refrigerator is, I think it's about 13 or 14 years old. So it was just last year that I finally pulled this plate off, and I could not believe how disgusting it is. And some people are like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you haven't done this. I do mine every 3 months or every 6 months. I did not. I tried to do it once a year now, and based on what I just found, I think that's pretty good. As I was sitting on the ground pulling the plate off, I noticed how dusty. I wasn't sure if the camera was actually picking up this little space in between my refrigerator and my cabinets of how dusty it was. So I stuck my hand in there. OMG. It's dusty. So your refrigerator definitely will perform better and last longer if you can keep it cleaner. So I just shoot for once a year, and the front of it wasn't that bad from doing it just last year. So now I'm going to pull the refrigerator out and do the back. And if you're new and you just found me, I am so happy that you are here. Would you please say hello to me and let me know that you are new down in the comment section? I would love to welcome you and say hello back to you. And if you're already subscribed, thanks so much for coming back to another video. I appreciate you. Definitely feel free to say hello to me in the comments as well, because I would love to say hello to you too. All right, so this is what it looks like behind the refrigerator, and it's not nearly as bad as it was last year, but of course it's dusty because I haven't done this in about a year. And just like the plate on the front that I was afraid to take off the first year I did it, this cardboard piece I was afraid to take off last year. But a ton of you told me it's totally okay. Take that off. You're going to be totally shocked at what you find inside. Well, I never did it last year, so we're going to do it together this year. And wait till you see what I find. Oh my goodness. I'm going to get all of this cleaned up. The baseboards cleaned, the floor cleaned before I move the refrigerator back into place. I would love to hear what's going on in your world. How are things going? Are you working on any projects this week? Are you doing any spring cleaning? I'm just about ready to get my butt outside and start cleaning the yard up. I'm so excited. 2 days ago, we got dumped with snow. That's Michigan for you. Today, the day I'm editing this, it's like 57. So spring is in sight. I'm so darn excited, and I'm going to give you an update on the bulbs that I planted in the front of the yard at the end of the video. But I still have a lot to do on my spring cleaning checklist, and I'm going to do 2 projects today. One is I'm not even working on the inside of the refrigerator. One is just trying to get all this dust out of here and clean these areas up, because I want to get these cleaned up before I host Easter. And it just looks better. I mean, I don't know that anybody's looking in between your refrigerator or anything, but it just feels better to have all of this stuff all cleaned up. I noticed this little spot on my floor. I don't know what it was, and I probably could have used something different to clean this because it definitely required some elbow grease. I did finally get it up, but I had to get a sponge and really spray it. I don't have any like Goo Gone. I need to get stuff like that, but I was a little apprehensive to put. I'm not sure if you can put Goo Gone on a wood floor or not. But anyways, I just had to work for a few minutes really scrubbing this, and I finally got it off. And while I'm back here, since I only do this about once a year, I'm just going to get all of the walls and everything just all cleaned up and dusted off so that all of the dust is gone. And then I recruited the husband. I needed to find a special tool to get the screws out of the cardboard that hold it into place on the refrigerator. And he likes to help, so he was happy to help. There was a couple of spots back here that I couldn't get off, so I just got a little magic eraser sheet out. Magic eraser is magic. I love it. So that got those spots off. Nobody sees this area, but while I was back here, I just wanted to go ahead and take care of all of it and make sure it was all nice and cleaned up. Thinking about it now, it's kind of crazy to me that there are just areas that I've never, ever cleaned. But I mean, I never learned how to clean any of this type of stuff. So if you're in the same boat as me and you're like, no, I've never done that, don't feel bad at all. But this is something that I will now do once a year going forward. You could see how much dust I just vacuumed off of those grates that are in the cardboard. And I was like totally shocked once we got the cardboard off how much dust there was inside. So the hubs is looking for the tool to get the screws off now. And so I'm going to just clean the whole outside of the refrigerator as well while I have it pulled out. And I've talked about this before, but the appliances are so incredibly expensive to replace. And the newer ones, they just don't last the way the older ones did. So I want to do everything to keep my appliances running for as long as they can run. I got to get the top of the refrigerator as well, especially the part that's pushed under the cabinet got very dusty. So the hub's found. I don't even know what it's called. I know what it's called. I can't think of it right at this second, but it had to be a certain size. So here we go. Oh, heavens. Wow. I know. I'm going to have to just lift it like this and let it set. Wowzers, bowsers. Y'all were right that told me last year that I was going to be shocked when I opened this. So this is the inside of the cardboard, and this is the inside of the refrigerator. It is literally caked with dust, which I'm certain has to affect how well it performs. So we're going to get it cleaned up. I grabbed the vacuum. We're going to get as much of this out as we possibly can. And the vacuum worked okay. You can see big chunks of dust coming off. I don't know what all these parts are called on the inside of the refrigerator, but whatever this is, the spaces in between was so tight that it was really hard to get the vacuum in there. Looking back now, couple things I thought of that I don't have. Maybe some pipe cleaner would have worked because I had to start using my fingers to pull dust out. Maybe even possibly a can of air.
Good morning.
Oh, yeah, Phoebe already had it out because she's having cereal too.
Where are my cocoa pebbles?
I don't know. The children probably moved all the cereal around searching for the Lucky Charms.
My pickup card.
I know, isn't that so cute?
My side part.
You had a cute side part. Dang it. Donna Jean had just come downstairs, so I thought I would leave that in. She saw one of her school pickup cards from when she was young with her side part. So I'm doing the best that I can with what I got to get all of this dust out. It was not easy. Viviana?
Yeah.
Can you run downstairs to the makeup, the back thing, and see if I have a set of tweezers?
Where would they be?
Like by the nail clippers and stuff, the very back by the sump pump room on one of the bottom shelves.
I don't know if you want to use these because they look expensive.
They look expensive.
I don't know if they're just regular.
Yeah, those are perfect. Thank you. The only thing I could think of at the moment was to get some dang tweezers. First of all, I should have unplugged the refrigerator because it was still running. So there's like a little fan right by this set of grates here. And I did take a butter knife that I was trying to get in between the grates to get some of the dust out, and the butter knife hit the fan and it made like a big pop. I mean, it didn't break anything, but it could have. But anyways, yeah, I don't know. Maybe a can of air could blow it out the front of the refrigerator. I don't know. I've had people suggest like, "Hey, you should clean that with a can of air," and I think in my mind like,
okay.
who just has a can of air handy at home? Am I the odd one? Am I like, is that one cleaning supply that I'm like, wow, how did I not know to have that? I still don't have a can of air. Apparently, I need to order some from Amazon for these little jobs, or like I said, maybe a pipe cleaner. I don't know. Give me a suggestion of what you would use. The tweezers were working pretty good, but I don't even know if I got all of it out. It's way better than it was, but this was a very tight space to try to get all of the dust out. And it was definitely time consuming, but you can see that it's not, well, you can't see right now because I'm covering you. This was a tight space behind my refrigerator. You couldn't see the dust any longer. So I feel good that at least I got at least a majority of the dust out. And so hopefully that helps to preserve the refrigerator for many more years. So I'm glad I did it, and I will definitely make sure I do it once a year. Now that I've done it once, I'm not scared to do it. I was just so nervous pulling that cardboard. Look at this picture of Donna Jean when she was little. Oh, I love that picture. I was so nervous pulling that cardboard off last year because, it's got like a water line attached and everything. And anyways, we did it this year, and you could see it really needed to be done. So I'm going to finish cleaning the rest of the outside of the refrigerator and get the top cleaned off of the dust before I push it back into place. And of course, the top of the refrigerator was very dusty as it gets. So I'm just showing you. The other side actually was a little dustier than this side. But we're going to get it all cleaned up now. And she looks a brand spanking new. And that was another thing. I think last year was the first year that I ever actually pulled the refrigerator out, because I didn't realize it was on wheels. I was like, I can't move a dang refrigerator. Yes, I can. It's on wheels, and I'm strong enough. I can move it out, and I can move it right back in. This is one of those jobs that's kind of a pain in the butt that nobody will ever notice or know that you did, but you know it. And it just gives me the peace of mind to know that I got all of that dust out of the inside of my refrigerator. So I'm just going to clean up this grate. Like I said, I pulled this off last year and cleaned it, so it really was not that bad. So once a year, maintenance cleaning for me, I think will be just fine. Probably once every 6 months would be better. If I don't get to it in 6 months and I wait a year, I'm going to be just fine with that. And I'm just going to go ahead and set it out and let it dry for a little while. I actually need to go get in the shower. This is what the vacuum cleaner looked like. That was just from the refrigerator area. Oh my gosh. All right, it's been a while, like 40 minutes. It's nice and dry now. I'm going to pop it right back into place. And you can see it just snaps right back in, so don't be afraid. All right, oh my gosh. I've never, ever cleaned this. This oven just throws me for a loop because it's a type of oven I've never, ever had. This, normally people have like a bottom storage area. I do not. This is where my oven is plugged in. This is where the ventilation is. And I've never cleaned it, and you could see how dusty it is. And you could also see a mouse trap underneath there. We've actually never had a mouse underneath the stove, but there were quite a few times where Tom was staring underneath the stove, and I was like, what is he staring at? And my husband's like, maybe there's a mouse. We get mice. We actually haven't had any for a while, but we live in a very wooded area, and we do get mice from time to time. We've had that. There's actually 2 mouse traps in here. We've had them in here for a while. My husband put them in here. And we've never had any mouse caught, so I'm going to remove them. And then my vacuum got clogged because there must have been a small piece of plastic underneath here that I vacuumed up. Okay, so we have lived here for 12 years, and I've never cleaned this area. OMG. OMG. I just don't think about it. But again, I'm going to have to add this to my list. I got to get this other mouse trap out. And I got a flashlight so I could actually see, and I was a little horrified. The dust is so thick that even the vacuum wasn't pulling it all up because it's like stuck to the floor. Oh my gosh. I don't know why this stove just confuses me so much. You're going to see another area of the dang stove that I never cleaned before that I will now clean. But for some reason, it's such a different oven than I've ever had or ever seen. It's a Gen Air. It was here when we moved in. Very expensive oven, but it's just totally different. And so there are certain parts I don't think about. I cannot pull the oven out. I'm sure there's a way to do it. I'm not going to try. It's all plugged in. It's all hooked up. So this is what I have to do to try to clean under here. And you'll notice in a couple of the shots, I do not think that when whoever put the stove in, however many years ago, they did not finish the wood floor underneath the stove, which I don't know. I don't think that's very good for the wood floor to not be finished. But the color is totally different. I wasn't certain because it was so dusty, but once I clean it, then I was certain it was not finished under here. And because of this ventilation system, I was having definitely some trouble getting all the way back here. So I'm certain there is still some dust back there. But look at this. Oh my God. Just from under here. Are you freaking kidding me? All right. I got as much of the dust as I could with the vacuum and taking a paper towel and pulling it up and then vacuuming more. I'm going to go in and just now clean it up. I'd love to hear if there's a space in your home that you had never cleaned and then you went to clean it and you were like, oh my gosh, how did I not know to clean this? Or it was so bad, I couldn't believe how bad it was. And then you put it on like your regular cleaning rotation, whatever that is, a yearly spring cleaning or a quarterly cleaning or whatever it is. Definitely feel free to share it with me. I'm sharing some vulnerable things that I know I'm going to have people like, even if they don't say it, they're going to be thinking, how did you not know to clean this? But I'm just being real with you. I just have never cleaned under this oven before. I just don't ever think about it because I know it's not a storage space. I know it's where it's plugged in. And so I just leave it be. But obviously I need to get down here once a year and make sure I clean up the dust because again, I want my appliances, even though this is not my favorite oven, because it is so small inside and there are things, it's so old, there are things on it that don't work. Like my broiler does not work, but I want to keep it running as long as I can keep it running. And so I'm getting it all cleaned out and hopefully this will help it. All right, it's so much better. Do you see the difference in the wood floor color? Like, I don't think they finish it. Hopefully they put at least a clear coat, maybe. I don't know. But it looks so much better. I'm certain I'm not getting the flashlight out because I'll drive myself crazy because I know there's going to be some spots in the back that I cannot reach. It's way better than it was. So I feel good about that. So I'm going to put this door back on and then just finish cleaning up the rest of the front of the oven, which I did come to another spot that I had never done before. Again, this oven throws me for a loop and I just need to stop being confused by it because there are some attributes of the oven, I guess you would say, that are just like any other oven. But because it's so different, I'm always just like, oh, this doesn't work like a regular oven does. It really is just a regular oven. It's just a little different than all the ovens I ever grew up with having or the oven we had in our last house. And if you've been with me for a while, you know that I recently learned how to pull the burner plates off of this oven. I learned it from an awesome subscriber, so that was incredible. But the last thing that I did today for the very first time, I was just going to clean up the front plate here, and then I was like, you know, on regular ovens, here I am again calling this one not a regular oven, the temperature plates, what do you call them? They pull out. Never pulled them out. Never, ever pulled them out. I know they come off of, quote, regular ovens, but my oven is not regular in my mind. And grease and everything gets stuck behind here, so I'm so glad I did this. It was so dang dirty. Again, we've lived here for 12 years, and who knows how long it had been before that, that these have been pulled off. So I just did all kinds of things today that I've never done before. And it is crazy to me how clean everything looked once I pulled these off and cleaned behind them. Not super exciting projects that I took care of today. Well, the tulip planting and the fact that they're sprouting indoors is pretty exciting to me. But I hope it inspired you to maybe take a look at an area that you haven't cleaned in a long time or maybe never cleaned. We're going to finish the video out by doing, I wanted to give you an update on my bulbs in the front yard. But I'm so happy that I got these projects done, and I appreciate you so much for spending some time with me today. Like, this area just looks so much cleaner than it ever did because I got behind and got all that dirt off. Well, I thought we would close the video outside, give you a little progress on my spring bulbs that are coming up. Thank you so much for spending some time with me. I tackled 2 big projects that were not fun. They weren't even really that big, but they were very time consuming. So we had a tornado come through town, and insulation from a building that got demolished miles away. We've been finding it all over, like, everybody's yard. It's crazy. So that's what that is. I just noticed that. Anyways, it feels good to get those 2 areas cleaned that really needed it. So this whole bed here is not going to be filled with bulbs, as I already told you. I just did not. It got way too cold too quick. It stayed warm for so long. Then it got cold super quick, and I couldn't get the rest planted. But I think we got somewhere around 100 maybe planted out here, and they just started to come up. These are all tulips out here. So I love when they first come up. They're like red. Anyways, I've pretty much got them all over this area that we planted them. So I'm so excited. I can't wait to see what they look like when they bloom, and can't wait to see what the ones in the house look like. I think I'm going to plant more of those, but oh my gosh, this area is just looking so good. Couple areas that I'm like, I don't see anything, but it's hard to see when they come up red. Like, I just noticed this one earlier and this one, but I'm pretty sure I got a whole bunch. Oh, there's another little red one there. Some areas I see that are bare, but I don't want to walk on this too much because I got bulbs everywhere and I don't want to break anything. But you can see all of these coming up. I have 3 different bulbs planted. I can't even remember what one of them is called. Oh, here's another little red one here. This area here is the sparsest area, but I do see red there. I see one coming up there. I see one coming up there. A couple over here. Oh, I got more insulation over there. I see them all over there. These are coming up like, wow. I can't wait to see what they all look like. This area over here looks pretty sparse as well. I've got one there. And I do see one there, but I'm certain I planted things right in here. So hopefully some things will come up. They might be later. I think I tried to mix in early, mid, and late. So they might just be coming up later. But anyways, just wanted to give you the progress. Appreciate you so much for spending some time with me today. And can't wait to show you when all of the flowers bloom. I'm so excited. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. I hope it inspired you to tackle maybe an area you've been forgetting about in your house. And I'm going to see you again next week. Have a great day. Bye.